Greetings everyone. In today's video, I would like to make you better at perhaps the most important skill in chess, which is calculation. It allows you to validate your moves and not base them on just intuitive feeling. I will introduce you to a thinking process that I think is very optimal and effective, that will make you much quicker decision maker in the game of chess with much more precision and accuracy that will make your rating shoot up. First of all, when you're approaching a position where something raises your tactical awareness, I want you to identify opponent's threat. That is step one. So in this position, when we're black, we have to identify that our queen is hanging with the check. The classical approach usually says that you should be creating the so-called list of candidate moves first. This is the list of moves that are worthy of consideration, and if it's a tactic, then this includes only checks, captures, and threats. That's going to be step 2 or 3 in our algorithm. So now, normally in this position, bishop takes e3 would be a move that we would be considering because it's a capture. But because you know they're threatening your queen with a check, that goes into the garbage can. Next, if you're approaching a puzzle online and you don't know what's the material situation, please calculate whether you're ahead or behind. That is very valuable information. For example, if you're a queen down, then you know that it's either a perpetual check puzzle where you have to repeatedly check your opponent's king till there is a draw, or it's a checkmate puzzle. If you're ahead by a piece, you know that it's a defensive puzzle, and if perhaps you're a piece down, then you know that only winning a rook or more will put you on the top and you would be winning. So identify the threat and count the material. Then we'll be creating a list of candidate moves, and please do not immerse in a line before you have full list. That is a very, very common mistake. For example, after say rook e4 and queen e4, we could play queen takes e4 or bishop e3. There are 2 moves here for black that are worthy of consideration. And what people do is they look at one move, for example, queen e4, and they may be spending like 2, 3, 4 minutes on that line, when if they look at bishop e3, they would realize that it's winning in 15 seconds. Create full list of candidate moves. I could do queen takes e4, I could do bishop takes e3, and only then immerse in a line. Then, please do not forget that your opponent has a choice as well. If you're considering rook takes e4, you have to consider that white could take with the queen or with the rook. So number 1, identify the opponent's threat, then count the material, create a list of candidate moves, and only then immerse in the lines. Do not forget of doing the same thing for your opponent. So how would ideally I would approach a puzzle like this? This will be difficult because I'll be trying to do everything in the mind and I will not be making moves on the board. So those of you who lack specific visualization skills and haven't developed them enough, maybe you should contact me and I can be your personal online chess coach and I could make you much better at that. You could reach whatever rating you want, or just try to pause the video and take a little bit more time to understand what I will be doing. So I'm approaching this puzzle right now and I'm imagining that this is the first time I see it. I'm identifying that my opponent has a threat of bishop takes f5. Now, I have only rook takes e4. There are no other moves that are worthy of consideration. My opponent has queen e4 or rook e4. There are 2 approaches to which move for opponent you should be checking first. Some GMs like to do the best moves for the opponent first, some like to do the worst. The idea behind checking the worst move is that usually those are quick lines to overcome. So for example, rook e4, I feel intuitively rook e4 is bad, and I could clearly see that the queen h3 is leading to a checkmate. Therefore, I immediately know that rook e4 leads to a win for black, and I go rook e4, what if they take with the queen? At that moment, I'm creating the list of candidate moves again. I could take with queen, his queen, or I could play bishop takes e3. Intuitively, I feel like taking the rook is a better choice. Then they have 2 moves again. I see that after bishop e3 from that position, they could take my queen, or they could be taking on e3. So I think this is the worst move that they could make, because after they take my queen and I take back, if you could visualize, in that position, I'm simply a piece up. So I stopped the line because white is not having any more forcing moves. Now as we go back, rook e4, queen e4, bishop e3, they have queen takes e3. I'm creating a list of candidate moves for myself again, and I could see that queen d5 is one of the moves, after which we're completely winning because they have to start giving pieces away in order to avoid getting checkmated. So I play rook e4, queen e4, bishop e3, queen e3, and queen to d5. The last tip that I would give you is try to calculate till checkmate, they say, but all that means you calculate till there are no more effective forcing moves for your opponent. Like in this position, they have forcing moves, but we're just taking them for free. But try to avoid ending your calculation and evaluating the position at moments when there are still aggressive moves that are worthy of consideration for your opponent left being made on the board. So now, let it all come together. We identify opponent's threat and we are aware of what's the material situation. We're creating a list of candidate moves and we're starting from what intuitively we feel is the best one, but we never immerse in a line before we have a full list. For our opponent, we're also creating a list of candidate moves, and you could either choose to evaluate their worst moves first or the best. There are both approaches, and try to not evaluate the position before there are no more forcing moves that are somewhat effective left on the board. After some time, this gets internalized, you develop the right habit, and your thinking process is like grandmasters. Then it's only a matter of grinding out lots of puzzles, getting and developing the pattern recognition, and perhaps working with the right coach. Thank you for watching this. Consider hiring me as your personal, and I will see you in the next class.